You can stay stuck because from that source that you follow. You can stay stuck because you will believe that through, and I'm allowing somebody else, one, to teach me. It has helped me to understand, but that's the Holy Spirit's job, family. That's why he put the Holy Spirit in you, which is him. It is it. So when you hear, you understand his word, you can connect with it and live as such. It is not blasphemy to say that I am a son of Yahuwah. John chapter 1 verse 12 tells you, when you believe and accept the Messiah, keep his instructions and then believe on the Messiah, meaning to be like him. Put on his mind, on the mind of Christ. Because the mind of that part you can't let fly over your head. You can't miss. We're dealing with spiritual things. We're not dealing with carnal things. So in order for me to reflect the eternal one, I have to follow his instructions. I have to speak it. I have to think it. I have to speak it, and I have to be it. And I can't be afraid because the next person don't see that far. They don't, because you're trying to be like me. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a home. Well, you're going to get what comes with it. You're going to get the rewards of those seeds. So what you saying? Y'all don't go. I'm not saying nothing. I'm saying I follow his instructions to procure whatever I need. You make of it as you will. I got to explain to a person, somebody we know doing good, and people tell me, I'll buy homes and this and that. I wouldn't buy none of their homes. You ain't looking at the markets. You thinking because it's a home, it's just automatically gonna be there because America says on this fiat currency, which has no intricate value. You ain't working a system that you was given according to the rules. A lot of us don't even know how to work the system. Don't even know what to before everything. Nothing comes before him. I mean nothing, literally nothing. That is the shift. You coming out of man's world, into that higher state, spirituality, eternal one. And it comes with an instruction that lasts forever. When you leave here, I hope you got enough of him that you done stored up, learned, and practiced in real time. So when you get to where you're going, you will be just like him. When you take off the mortal man and you want to see him as he is, just like you. You want you to be, yourself to be just as, man, I ain't had no Louisiana hot sauce in so long, messing with this woman and her dang on taste, which is good. I don't have no problem with it. She's always cooked. Frank's cool, and you can put that shit on everything. But Louisiana is good, and you can put it on everything, but it's gonna fire your ass up like it's supposed to. It ain't no joke. I love it. Maybe go buy me a case of noodles. Keep me some chili noodles and some rice. Give me some colored rice. I don't want no white. I want some colored rice. We don't use white rice. We use colored rice, baby. Cause we color folk. Colored rice is natural rice. As long as it's not processed. That process, we don't mess with that process, y'all. Excuse me. I turned the camera off. It ain't my face you want to see nowhere. It's the spirit. But coming to understand things like this, it sharpens. Especially when I'm out in the field. And like today, I didn't get a car. And I'm like, shit, this car stuff getting played out. Some days you got a car, some days you don't. Well, we love the Most High for giving us the desires of our heart to work on cars. But understand, that's not what he told me to do. That's what the world told you to do. Because you seen your daddy doing it, your grandfather, and you thought it can create a life for you that's based on the blessings of it. But now I understand how to unlock things. meaning to fully engulf myself in who he is and to be a reflection of that in real time and reality. Peace to the gods. That's all I'm saying. Or either you are a lower species. You ain't from the Most High. I understand why you'll reject that. You don't understand his instructions. I understand why you will reject the truth. But know what's going to happen to you when you reject the truth. I was just reading Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people suffer for a lack of knowledge. Yeah, you suffer because of a lack of knowledge. If you had knowledge on how to operate in your higher self, you'll let the world go and operate as God sees you, as sons, gods, little g. Yes, you will. It's True in Africa time. Notice I said True first. I'm so excited about the Sahel and the developments, the Sahel African region, that West Africa, the Horn of Africa. See, y'all be playing with people's lives, cutting shit and all to an end too. The Most High gonna show me how I can get away to get access without having to go through your, without having to go through all this scrutiny. Like y'all know we gonna talk about the truth. I'm from God. I'm not from the devil. I'm from God. I'm not from America. That shit, I'm not from America. I live in this motherfucker. Don't get it twisted. That don't define who I am. I'm coming through like my father. You know? Like what I'm about. Because they not of the father. These some different type of people. You gotta get that. You can't look at it like they're showing us every day, right? With movies and stuff like that, we see it. But then we don't believe it. We think that's why they show it to you, to condition you to not believe it when you see it. Anything to try to trick you. Give them too much of anything you won't like it. You gotta wake up. Show your shirts on too. You've been having successful things. I need me a Wix. Emails. I need a website. So I can run my own, get another website and use it the right way this time. I need a web page. So I can set up. I need to set me a web page up so I can run all my activity on there. Not all my activity, but I can run my accessible. So make a web page. They can go on there, make me one of them URLs where you can just type in my certain, whatever name or whatever, and it's gonna take you straight to my platform where you can, get information, share information, or make purchases. Ain't no, oh, we should go through Africa. Bullshit. Africa used our internet, and it wasn't no problem. So Africa providing one, we feel comfortable with it. So some of us want to test it. I would feel comfortable with an African internet. Yes, I would. I wouldn't care what data they collect. What the fuck? Stop playing. We don't care about the data. We care about stop playing. We don't care about the data. We care about the relationship that's coming out of Israel. Just This particular ones I've been following for years. I ain't just started doing this, fam. We ain't new to this. We true to this. For shizzle. We ain't new to it. We true to it. We've been on this. A lot of people just getting up on it, and I ain't knocking you, but they just doing some fly by night shit. They ain't invested in it. We invested. That's the difference. And we making a difference with good, pertinent information that's helping people to make the right decisions. And we got a whole lot of good information coming off this platform. And I'm looking for this channel to grow. And I need to start engaging more with the people, which I will. I do have retail where I can offer things to draw more people, but everything I'm doing, I'm predicating not do what you do.
The room during the UN General Assembly, and then after this, he was caught talking to social media influencers, particularly TikTokers, on Israel's essential plan to take over this media outlet for its benefit. I just want to play a bit of this.
Oh yeah. We gonna get up off there. They take over. I'm quick.
The most important purchase that is going on right now is
we're gonna cut that shit off.
TikTok. TikTok. Number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential.
We're gonna cut TikTok off, bro. We ain't worried about that. That's why I'm checking out Africa. You ain't gonna cut Africa off.
And the other one? What's the other one? It's most important. X. That's very good. And, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot, and I could go on.
But Elon throwing up high Hitler signs when President Trump got elected. Y'all don't remember that. No. Where's the godly criteria? Where's the criteria based on the word of the Father, which is his law? They playing games, family. We ain't got time to play games, and they will expose themselves by their own words. Listen to them. They'll tell you themselves, but you want to argue with your brothers and sisters? You're going to remain in a low state, and we're going to keep going higher and higher in the spirit. It's the truth.
Other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight. Okay? To give direction to Jewish people and give direction to our non-Jewish friends or those who could be of Jewish friends. Are we going to succeed with everyone? No. Will it be a strong conflict? Yes.
This whole sale of TikTok is for Israel a hugely important component of
it's too late.
Waging a more effective.
No matter what they do.
Netanyahu was also seeding there. Is he says fighting with the sword isn't very effective.
It don't matter what they do. We're gonna quit TikTok and go on the African platform. And you just gonna make us all come together. Don't talk about I listened to this last week. But that means you trying to colonize, bring that same mentality to TikTok. Which y'all already on Facebook. That's them the people who talking about they got trying to stop everybody from speaking a piece. Once I come to the knowledge of something, I'm going to speak it, whether it offend you or help you. It don't matter. It's freedom of speech, fam. And it ain't no special regards when it comes to no people. Even the owner, you don't get to control. If that's the case, the people need to stop using it and let it collapse. That's not proper judgment. You give right judgment, which can come through people. But if it's not based on your higher self, you following men's plan.
We've seen.
And we don't mince words when it comes to nobody. You gonna get the uncut raw truth. Them dudes ain't for the Most High. So we reject them.
Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were killed by.
And we don't care who accept them. That means we're gonna reject your ass with them. You're not spiritually right. You need to repent and get aligned with the Most High and keep his commandments. Believe on the name of the Messiah, meaning to be as he is, put on his mind and his characteristics, and be a son unto your father. Unto your father.
Essentially, Israel.
That's what matters.
U.S. and UK back sword, but it's not effective. What's needed is TikTok and social media and the rest.
No, they want to control the fucking world.
Netanyahu made a stunning self-indictment as usual, without meaning to. But the whole concept of
the minimum
over TikTok was based on a false premise that the Chinese were stealing the data of
exactly.
American teenagers who were doing like dance.
Hear what he's saying, because before they cut us off TikTok the first time, that was the so-called issue. Oh, the Chinese are stealing our intellectual properties. Y'all be careful. The same time they was talking about China and Africa doing business is bad. Like, is that all y'all see is the bad shit? Why don't you offer what could turn to good then, instead of a fucking bomb? Well, cutting people off, trying to come everyday necessities. Like, what the fuck? That's of the devil. I'm not supporting that shit. My eyes is open. I don't care how many jobs they got. That shit ain't gonna stand. You better wake up.
I was engineered to get us under Joe Biden's administration. It began and continued under Trump. So you can see the bipartisan, with the bipartisan U.S. Congress and Senate working on behalf of Israel. So it was totally disingenuous. There was no Chinese threat on TikTok. And when you,
so that means they all, I keep telling y'all, these people, and based on the Jewish people, it's just based on Europeans. These the people who you read about in Daniel chapter 7. Babylon, they took their tails back in there. Remember the Most High, when they first built the Tower of Babel, the Most High scattered, confused the tongues of the people, and scattered across the plain. Because why? Because they were idols. They was idolaters. That's why.
Now you can see the end game of it. And so Israel's soft power has tanked, basically. It's not only tanked in the West, but it's also tanking among even the Jewish diaspora or the international Jewish community. They can no longer rely on the promise that Israel is the safest place on the planet for Jews to have a homeland. Such can be held at the feet of Benjamin Netanyahu. The other thing that I think is interesting is how he appropriated the term woke right. Zionist mouthpieces flooding social media, warning of all sorts of, day of rage, Islamic sleeper cells are going to rise up and so forth. Even Charlie Kirk himself was trafficking in those same, that same sort of hysteria in the United States.
But where they at? The only motherfucker causing problems are the Jewish people, European people. I hate to tell the truth, but truth is the truth. Imagine a world where there was nothing against my European brothers and sisters who repent and turn their life to Christ and understand you get the mission. You know the mission. You get it. But those that's insisting on thinking their empires are going to rise and come to this glory again, you delusional. The sons of God, we going to tear your kingdoms the fuck down. Period. Take it how you want it.
And people were pointing out that if you define wokeness, or as the right does, they define wokeness as the kind of rapid, out of control identity politics. Well,
that's because they can't control you.
Form of identity politics than Zionism.
Exactly.
This has to be the top level of the conception of identity politics.
Exactly.
For an ethno-state or a religious state exclusive.
You can't even say nothing about these niggas. Like, who the fuck are they? They say all kind of, they rabbis say all kind of ignorant shit about black people. Like, man, fuck them.
Religious state running in a apartheid system.
Cut my channel or whatever you want to do. I don't get it.
Politics writ large. So that's where the term originally woke right came from. Was to describe
us. I'm not respecting your ass.
The Fox News crowd, the whole, the Jordan Peterson crowd, the Daily Wire crowd, then repurposed it, reappropriated it to point at people on the right that were opposing.
Then if you in politics, you ain't woke. You living a homosexual life. You living a life outside of what God established. You ain't woke. Fuck out of here.
Israel's genocide, you see. So it's a bit of a sleight of hand, and you can see Netanyahu is attempting to do this 2 years on, which is quite pathetic, actually. And the real irony of that is that identity politics is the thing. This is the most weaponized form of identity politics in human.
Because we turned it that way. It wasn't no Netanyahu or none of them. We put a face on who's wicked. So now we're starting, oh, they woke. We started all that. The black grassroots. People who are waking up to the bullshit you've been fed all your life. Or you can stay asleep. That's your choice.
In the history is Zionism, the Zionist ideology. And they're using it as a weapon in order to try to justify one of the worst crimes against humanity of not just the modern era, but I will say possibly one of the worst of all time.
Damn right.
In living memory. So I think the irony of that is quite amazing. I mean, you could go on, but the bottom line is Naftali Bennett, former Israeli prime minister, said it the best. He was decrying the fact that they had 120 or 150 million trying to buy influence social media platforms post-October 7th, and we're being outnumbered by pro-Palestinian posts 16-1.
It ain't just Palestinians, though. It's people with love in their heart that know it's wrong, and I'm not on that. What they do. They made the bombs to blow them. That's what they're going to do. You don't have to wonder. They're showing you. They blowing men, women, and children. They are going to blow them. You don't have to question none of that. The thing you should be questioning is am I in alignment with the Most High? Because if I'm not, then that means I'm on these suckers' line, and something going to happen that you don't want to happen. We shaking all these suckers. These peons, get their ass out of here. We woke now. You better connect with Africa and your people. They ship going down. Our ship rising because it's based on truth. The Father. Let me tell you something. Love is going to kill all that hate.
16-1. And I'll tell you, Palestine didn't spend any money to get that margin of victory.
It's love.
In terms of hearts and minds.
People got it hard.
You have 60% of Generation Z Americans saying they are in far more in favor of Hamas than they are of Israel.
They know what the fuck they did to their people. I don't know why y'all overlook that.
Netanyahu sees the state of pickpockets as such an important weapon for itself in this time. What's your take on this, Larry?
It goes to the broader change and revolution with respect to media narrative control. You know,
I know more of that, Mr. CIA.
Yes, Mr. CIA. How you plant stories to try to further a narrative. In this case, I was working in support of the to counter the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And, you know, something like that, it was easy to portray the Soviets as the bad guys and us as the good guys, even though that wasn't really the truth. No more. But, you know, the narrative worked. You know, the three of you are really too young to
wake up.
The Exodus
Manipulation.
Influence. In the movie Exodus with Paul Newman, came out in 1960, 61, but it was around a lot on television during that period. And it pushed this entire David versus Goliath narrative in support of the Zionists. They were these good, humble, just, you know, want to plant olive trees and feed the bird kind of people.
Fuck out of here.
These nasty Arabs are running around. And that you know, when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, getting fed that propaganda, it's, you know, it has some influence.
We know better now.
Much easier to control back then.
See what I'm saying? You got Europeans that we might not agree with, but they understand truth and know the goddamn truth. Stop playing.
I'm just going to use these statistics earlier with Judge Knapp. In 1968,
this man is ex-CIA. Question his credentials.
There were a total of 54 million people that watched the three largest news broadcast stations in the U.S., CBS, ABC, NBC. Of those three, CBS with Walter Cronkite accounted for 28 million people. In August of 2016, those three stations, plus Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, combined, had an audience of 27 million. Even though the United States population from 1968 to 2016 had increased by about 140 million people. So we had far more people, far fewer watching. So that's why this whole social mesh that has, it has created new challenges for the government to try to control. And fortunately, as was the case during the Soviet Union, they had imposed a lot of restrictions upon what could be printed, what could be published.
Can't have no restriction on shit now.
Time, called Sunday's God grew up.
Think about it.
In which surreptitiously.
Now Africa got their own platform.
The main narrative, popular.
We can get the fuck up off here because we can care less about what they doing. We go over there to Africa platform. That's what I'm gonna do because that's what I want to speak the truth to. That's the people I know God dealing with. I ain't got nothing against nobody else. You can come in the fold too, but I know we the people.
We're seeing desperate efforts of governments.
Yeah, they desperate. It's over.
And in Israel.
We woke now.
Control the narrative, but
it ain't happening.
Shows like yours, like what Patrick does, Judge Napolitano, Nima,
and especially us. They ain't gonna get a credit, but we know we beating these streets, these platforms up every day with truth and information. They ban some of us. It ain't them. They want to spin even that narrative like it was them telling the truth from the start so they can come in and eventually they're gonna go against your story. They want to control the platforms. Hell no. It's the free world, free market. That's what they need to learn. The hell? You need to be questioned. Unchecked power in the wrong hands, forget about it.
On the list of and things you may even disagree with, but there's so much out there that actually makes it almost impossible for the government to control it. And that's the bright side of the silver lining.
I love it.
You have in Israeli media, with European leaders bowing to fringe groups Israel must prepare, written by actually the University of Southern Wales UK and research fellow for the Israel Center for Grand Strategy.
Fringe groups, ain't that something?
In the UK.
What they talking about is Muslims. There's a lot of Muslims done entered into Europe and a lot of Africans going over there. And that's who they talking about in layman's terms. They don't want your ass over there, but they want your money. I don't know why you running out of Africa. No way. I wish I can afford to go to Africa right now and help build. So I can pull a lot of us out of here. What is our problem?
In Europe in particular, it's not just Europe, as I showed earlier, it's with younger Americans. The vast majority of people in the United States also are incredibly opposed to what Israel is doing and see the United States as a big backer of
going to hell too.
Where does all this fit into this overall refocus or double down focus on the part of Israel on information warfare?
Well, that brand is now tainted, and
Internet fixing will become fatal. Art Bell isn't how I.
Y'all already know what time it is. The books are open. We're not waiting on nobody to teach us nothing. And if you are, you do yourself a disservice. Seek knowledge. Right knowledge. And that's the will of your career. Real skillet.
And Zionism is, from the start has been all about lobbying great power to get what it wants. Obviously, the whole nightmare began in London with the Balfour Declaration in 1917, when the British government promised Palestine to the Zionist movement, and that was a very kind of that they were shoehorned into that effectively by people like Chain Wiseman, and they saw
who really made that happen That's why I say it's gonna all crumble down. They liars. Eat the meat, spit out the bones, fam. You gotta know history and to be able to read between the lines.
On their side. At that time, Britain was the most powerful country in the world if they wanted to get what they want. And they know that the whole of their existence relies on the population, particularly in the United States, but also in Europe, being on their side and supporting their government.
Game over there.
And actually, I think that has the biggest rupture with that strategy ever is now in place. And I believe it's never going to go back.
Hell no, it ain't.
The other thing is Zionism has also always tried to market itself. Well, it markets itself to different sectors, but it often markets itself as a progressive force. You know, it's it's often linked to the history of persecution of Jewish people. It's linked to progressive ideals like socialism and stuff. What lobby groups try and do that. But if you look at what Zionism is as an ideology and as an idea, it's a deeply regressive, supremacist, settler colonial ideology. It's not got anything to do with progressive ideals or progressive sensibilities.
No,
and that whole fantasy and mythology, even the term liberal Zionism, which is an oxymoron, which I've used a lot, it's unsustainable now, and it's never going back. So that's why, and actually, I think Netanyahu is going to find that out, because I actually think he's sincere when he says that he thinks that getting hold of TikTok through Larry Ellison will will be consequential and get the population back on side. But I think he doesn't understand that he's gone way too far. People's eyes are open, and especially young people. And these are the people that the coming generations are going to be in the Foreign Office in the UK, in the State Department in the US. The whole generation coming up absolutely hates Israel, and actually
over Israel in America. Ain't nobody finna listen to them. You know, when people's eyes are wide awake, they'll never go back to sleep. You can cut that one loose, fam. It's game over. Rising to supreme power. And taking care of their people and their land, taking control of it.
So I think that it won't work, and I think that
evil as fuck.
As it becomes clearer and clearer that it won't work, then they're gonna have to go to another strategy. And they're even talking. I mean, they are aware that they've lost the world to that extent. If you listen to Netanyahu's speech the other day, where he said we have to plan for isolation. And we have to plan for autarky economically, i.e. we have to produce all our own business. We can't trust that we won't be hit with trading bubbles. That's quite significant. And as I say, the whole strategy, because they know that they're a small little country, to keep the grand powers on side. When that umbilical cord, which runs from Washington, London, Berlin to Tel Aviv, is cut, which I think it will be, not immediately, but over the coming decades, then it's going to be very hard for them to survive, because this is a country of 9 million people. You know, it's got GDP smaller than Sweden. It can't survive without the United States for like a couple of weeks, particularly militarily. So,
y'all think that land they stay on is God's promised land? And people, why is it not producing like when Abraham went into Africa? He was made a great nation. Isaac went into Africa. He was made a great nation. Jacob went into Africa. He was made a great nation. Why do you think we keep telling you Africa is the land of milk and honey, promised land? Canaan's land that was taken is in Africa. It'll come to you. Most High gonna work it out.
I am quite hopeful that in the long term, Zionism is dying, and also that they won't be able to reverse it, no matter how many social media platforms they buy. The other point is also, look, they have huge control over social media already.
Yeah, they do.
And still the whole world's turned against them. You know, Meta has censors on behalf of Israel all the time. Got significant numbers of former spies, Israeli spies, working for them.
I just said that.
Elon Musk is a big supporter of Israel, and it's not worked. So I think that they're going to find that out very quickly.
Y'all invest in the wrong people. That's
The
what you're
question
gonna
is,
find
how
out.
do we translate that shift in public consciousness around the world into policy changes within our own government? Because it is happening slowly. And I'll just give you some examples from the UK, particularly because it's not happening in the same way in the US because Trump is so under control of Israel. But here, just the other day, the Royal College of Defence Studies, which is the most elite UK military training school, said that they will no longer take Israeli personnel. It's the first time they've done that since it was created by Winston Churchill in the early 20th century. This is a huge, significant moment. They've also said that they're going to recognise Palestine, which I have a problem with this whole move, but it's still something that they know will piss off the Israelis, and they're still willing to do it. And this is at a time we're 2 years in. Think about 3, 4, 5 years down the line. There's going to be so much pressure on the government that they're going to have to start translating public opinion into policy, and there's nothing the Israelis can do. The question is, how does, once they've become isolated and they're running their autarkic economy, how do we actually dismantle it and actually have some kind of justice and peace in between the river and the sea? And that's another question. I can't see how that happens without some kind of holy, like existential war, because Israel has nukes. This is the important thing. You know, this is what all the different resistance groups, including and governments in the region, dance around the whole time. This is a country that has a huge nuclear weapons arsenal, and is mad enough to use it for sure. In fact, some people said that the reason Trump bombed Iran was because Netanyahu said, "Look, we don't have the technology to get as deep as we need to take out the nuclear facility, so I'm going to use a nuke." And Trump was like, "No, don't do that. I'll bomb with the US fleet." I don't know if it's true, but
I can believe that because it happened.
It's extremely dangerous when you have this complete.
I can believe that because they hit and they got out the way. It was no connection for us to do it, and we know the only reason they act like we slow. And a lot of people are slow, but family, stop playing. We know what's happening. We are the ones praying and pushing for the change, for a justice system for all people, no matter who you is.
The insane regime. I'm not just saying it rhetorically.
Yeah,
dumb. They killed the most amount of journalists that have ever been killed by a state in one go.
Like, are y'all serious?
They've massacred people for tweets. When you have a state like that is a huge nuclear arsenal, it's a threat to the whole world. It's not just a threat to the
world. Ain't gonna be scared of them.
It is a
you hit that button, we all go.
There are
fuck around.
Reports that it's going to be Oracle that will gain majority ownership, and it's a pro-Israel tech firm whose main venture capitalist, Larry Ellison, is one of Silicon Valley's most prominent pro-Israel figures, according to the Cradle, and has made significant donations to the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces. So there's obviously a direct connection that Netanyahu is drawing, given that one of Israel's
roots. Don't you know we been did the research? We know who owns, then from the smallest companies to the next group of owners over them, then the next group that gets smaller and smaller as you grow up. It's like 4 groups that, and then you seen Kanye come out with it. Where he get his talking points from? The Hebrews. He never had a reason to go against them. He was married. Them people in the Israeli people all work together. They like blood, they bloodline. These are Japhetic people, Turkic people. Like, stop playing. We know all this. It's y'all. It's only the Europeans running around acting like all this information is secret. We don't know every detail, but we know who's who and what the hell y'all did.
What's your...
And if you pay attention to the conversations, they'll tell on themselves. Like this gentleman in the corner on the right, at the bottom. Right there, at the bottom. That gentleman is talking about a difference, yet America being their friends, but at the same time, it's a wall. You have to put up that wall of partition because the people over here ain't like the Israeli people. We'll turn on your ass. And then you got a bunch of people with guns everywhere talking about turning on the government. They don't want that. The American people crazy as hell. Look what they did on January 16th. 616, whatever the hell day they went up there. Them people was armed and strapped and ready to rock and roll. They don't want to see that out of everybody. Stop playing. That ain't no threat. That's the reality of life. It ain't gonna just be white people next time who feel like, look, man, we need to stand up and we're gonna protest this shit. We ain't going. Let's go. And gonna march on their ass. I ain't say be violent. Go and confront their ass. Ask them questions. Put their ass on the hot seat. Use every measure you can to disrupt peace. You can ask as many questions as you can. You can come around them, your servants. They are public servants. Go ask their ass every day. The raw and uncut truth. That's enough to make them quit. Because you can't answer. Niggas gotta be all in your business. Like, man, get some business. The fuck, I'm a commentator.
Well,
this is my commentary. It's my platform. I talk about what I want on here. Get you some business. Get you some knowledge. Get you some information to help people so they can make the right choice. People kill me. What the hell?
You can look at the UK.
Find you something to do.
The Starmer government's pushing hard to implement a digital ID. And who is the front man for this project? In fact, he's been the front man for the digital ID in the UK since long before Keir Starmer was sworn in as prime minister. It's Tony Blair.
Listen to their names.
So a war criminal, Tony Blair, whose foundation has garnered no less than $300 million from, guess who? Larry Ellison. So clearly there's an interest with Larry Ellison, Oracle, and this sort of tech empire to run the back end for databases for this new digital ID program, which basically will be ubiquitous across all systems and centralizing a centralized node for every sort of citizen. And this will be gateways for everything: internet access, social media, banking, right to work, and et cetera, et cetera. So clearly this is a technocratic end run around basic rights and right to privacy and so forth. And it can be hugely politicized. So when you consider...
Family, that's the end times, this legacy system, this world. What people don't understand is this world is the system that's operating, that's controlling everything. This world. And that system is over. We going into a king. This is the kingdom era. This is the Christ order time. He's not waiting on them to build nothing. Things are happening simultaneously, but you don't pay attention. Because like I say, a lot of us are of the world. We're not seeking through the scriptures to find out. We're not seeking out the book. We listen to, hey, I'm listening to them, but I understand the foundation of what they're talking about. But the tactics and things, how they're trying, the scenarios they're using and how they're trying to paint this scenario, like, family, that is Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. The Father said he go expose and tear them down. And he's going to make you know that he have loved you, and to make them who are not of him to come and worship at your feet. Family, that's my foundation. I don't know what everybody else is based on, but I'm looking at the nations he talked about, even us. If you don't do right, you going in chains too. You going in the lake of fire too. It don't mean nothing because you're a Hebrew. Now let's eat.
That, and Larry Ellison being Israel's one of their biggest assets on the planet in terms of...
Your pessimism ain't affecting me.
Drill down even further, and you realize at some point during the founding stages of Oracle that the Central Intelligence Agency were deeply involved in this and many other similar enterprises. Larry Johnson can probably comment on this area, but we have venture capital firms like InQtel that are routinely involved in providing the seed funding and seeding the board initially of board members of some of these corporations. There's a joke in Brazil, Danny, I don't know if you heard it, but some Brazilians will laugh and say, we don't decide our elections, Oracle decides our elections. So all of these systems, electronic voting systems, election systems, have been road tested in so-called third world countries by United States intelligence with their tech moguls. And these can also be deployed in America. They can be deployed in Britain and across Europe, and if they're not already being deployed in that fashion.
They are.
So in terms of manufacturing consent or election outcomes,
They are already being
you've got a
deployed.
prime minister in Britain that is absolutely will go to the wall for Israel, no matter what they do. That's pretty clear. But in a prime minister with a very low approval rating, and right across Europe, you have all these leaders that are clinging to a mandate with high 20%, low 30%, and stitched together with flimsy coalitions. So there's no way they can represent what the public majority want or believe or feel. And the United States goes for the same thing in the United States. But yet, when it comes to supporting Israel, you could end up in the next 10 years having governments that support Israel still, but people that are just totally against it. And I think you're already seeing that now. So again, this gulf increases between where the public are and where the elite bureaucracy are, and where the big billionaire oligarch class are. And of course, many of those oligarchs, whether they're Christians or whether they're Jewish, they're all Zionists. That's the thing they have in common.
Thinking about selling a house anywhere in Chicago, including the blue areas.
You got a channel.
I will buy your house as is in any condition.
I think that's, the real estate guy I'll be checking out. He put out good information too, family. I believe. He looked just like that dude. I thought he was from Florida, though. He could be stretching out because the Florida market is kind of shaky right now. You got to go and check it out. Check out the real estate channel. Check out any real estate channel. They're going to tell you because them the hot spots. So is Florida go, the nation goes. Florida is the shit when it comes to motherfucking real estate. They can sell you a motherfucking corner for $10 million. So they game tight on the real estate. That's why you need to watch him. This gentleman here, I can't think of his name. It is him. He got a YouTube channel, or he got a twin that look like him that's in real estate too. What a coinky dink. Starlink banned in Burkina Faso. They don't want that stuff over there. Africa is rebuilding its infrastructure. It's not prejudice how people try to spin this the channel out. Real estate mindset. These guys here do. That's Jamie, what's the name that runs JP Morgan?
I'm telling you it's going to happen.
That Jamie Dimon, there you go.
I'm not going to panic.
He told us, Warren Buffett telling you, don't buy no homes. People hire you, I'm getting a home. Like I try to explain to people. These are people who control the fucking market, bro. They got majority shares in homes that control inventory, right? A majority or quarters of it, a great much percentage of it. If they telling you don't buy, what fuck is y'all steady talking about? Oh, he just hating. He don't know what he talking about. He ain't never had nothing. What the fuck am I hating on? You ain't gonna own none. Why you think the market is collapsing? Paying attention to Trump. You better pray to the government open word about what people, if people talking truth. Oh shit, people speaking truth or not. You better do the research and go and check your numbers on your home. Check the stats on the numbers of that loan you took out. Don't be arguing with people. Just do your research. Check it out. Money ain't what the hell it used to be. I had to do an extensive research today on fiat currency. That ain't no damn money, but that's what we use. A piece of paper, a promissory note that's backed by the government that we not gonna falter on. If you buy our debt through bonds, that's what you hear China talking about. We selling trade. They talking about they selling $1 billion in bonds. That means they spent billions of dollars in debt to buy the dollar to use. They made money off of it, yeah, but now they not using it. So ain't no more billions of dollars coming from China to buy our debt. That's gonna affect, and they own a lot of the properties through that bond. They ain't just got a portfolio in China, they got a bigger portfolio here. from the place they bought the debt from. They bought the debt so they can make purchases. Make purchases, family. Not just to use the vending machines at the airport. You turn the dollar in to get the currencies that they use. They in the vending machine. Thanks to 141 trillion bond market collapse. See, I was just talking about bonds. I ain't even looking at the head. I need to look at it. Who owns that bond? We'll look at these things and just, okay, it's just a head. No, words have meaning. That's $141 trillion. They say we got a debt of 30-some trillion. So that means whoever bought that bond he's talking about where you live right now. So that means, just check their channel out. I always watch them. Fair use copyright. I always check their channel out. I've been checking it out for over a year now. And they put out good sound information that you can look up and you see that's happening right now. There ain't no gaslighting. These are professional realtors. They watch the numbers and they connected with the bankers. They bankers too. Are they trying to help their own ass? Yeah. But the information is happening on the spot right now and is working. So I listen to them.
Are going to see a crack in the bond market. Okay? It is going to
That's
happen.
bad.
I tell it to my regulars, some of them in this room,
That's bad.
I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic.
No.
We'll be fine.
Creators don't panic. We're going to create another way to get money. That's how you do that. Boy, this money.
The world is facing an unprecedented
Man, here, hey, they be getting it.
times worse in the 2008 global financial crisis. Jamie Dimon and Ray Dalio are sounding the alarm on the avalanche of financial turmoil coming.
Brother, bonds ain't hard now. They selling people
on about $2 billion
property with no money to back what they do.
And got
living on
$324 million from issuing bonds as early as 2024. You guys, they wrote 29,000 fraudulent loans and were rated
fraudulent ass loans.
Right
Democrats,
demonstrating how dangerously useless not only these rating agencies are, but also how useless these government agencies are, like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But where I want to start looking at only treasuries or government bonds, that totals $2.8 trillion. Looking at corporate bonds, which I'm extremely worried about personally because it's generally unsecured, totals a whopping $1.3 trillion. Remember, you guys, bonds are debt. This is like them creating imaginary credit. Mortgage-backed securities.
No, you're not going to just speed past that like you ain't just say that. Didn't I just say bonds are debt? They buy the bond because it allows them to get the debt. The debt is the dollar. Speaking layman terms so they can understand. Get up. I ain't making this stuff up. I ain't trying to put no scare tactics out there. No, this information is to awaken your mind so you can make the right sound decision. Don't use it because it's overvalued it has more value, way more value compared to the fiat, which is a dollar, a piece of paper, no intricate value. Everything I say, you're going to hear it, but it's coming from a real setting, what's happening right now with motion behind it. So that means you're going to have to do something to counter that. First of all, you educate yourself so you'll know what's going on.
$1 trillion. Looking at corporate bonds, which I'm extremely worried about personally because it's generally unsecured, totals a whopping $1.3 trillion. Remember, you guys, bonds are debt. This is like them creating imaginary credit. Mortgage-backed securities issued in that time frame, a total, guys, $1 trillion. How's that possible?
How in the hell is that possible? And you owe trillions of dollars. What that means, you're gonna have to give up something as collateral to back it. What did they give up? Did they give us up and promise as a promissory note that we gonna work to make this debt disappear for so long, allowing them to extract money out of our checks for whatever source we pulling money for, minus the ones that's protected if you know how to do business. if you're into what is that, trust and all those things to protect yourself and your money, which is only allocated through lawyers. Can't nobody just they can't even just find out who own no trust. You know, it's like what a lawyer. There's a confidentiality thing going on. They're not going to tell you who trusted is. Yeah, I'm quite sure you will get notified, but everything is going through a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. I need to go get my Black's Law at hand in real time. Like he said, I tried to explain that to some guys I know with the gold. They're gonna tell me everything but gold has value. Now I done went and did the research and to show them how gold works. So that means now I have to buy some gold from Africa to show them. You can buy gold and have it sent here. It's gonna come by whatever means it comes through that company that's sending it. And it's gonna have to come through customs, we know. And you're gonna have to pay tax. They're gonna charge you for the delivery, basically. That's what tariffs are. They charge you taxes on the commodities you buy from others. That's not from here. Family. They told me gold didn't have no value because America devalued. I'm like, no, only reason gold loses value because you shaving off of it and filling it in with some whatever they use. You know what I'm saying? They got real and they got the knockoff, family. They sell it all day in stores. So let's not act like it's some conspiracy theory. No, it's the truth. You might buy what is it, 1 1/10 of an ounce. Yeah. It's I don't know how that scale is set for gold, but I have to look at the numbers and see what those decimals are to be able to tell you. I'm not familiar with looking at that scale every day. I just looked at it yesterday, but my point being, I had to send it to a gentleman so he'll know. People buy, you got the American Eagle coin, gold. Okay, you can get it 22 karat, if I'm not mistaken. I just read the instruction. 22 karat, you probably get 24. But you can get it in a lesser carat, where the cost lesser. But people are buying and trading them every day and selling them every freaking day to make a living. But they won't tell me, one, gold is not an asset, it loses value. I'm like, no, it loses value in America because America doesn't control large quantities of it where they can put lay the law down with it. You can put their tax on it and run it up basically. No, they can't control it. So yeah, I can see to them, but that's not how gold works in real life because gold has so many applications. You can't devalue gold, family. And a lot of things you use are dependent on gold. A lot of people don't understand. But as far as losing its value, its intricate value, no. Compared to dollars, it supersedes because dollar has no value. It's just a piece of paper with words on words. You create spells. Oh, I believe it's gonna work. And your ass believing it. Oh, it's gonna work. Let me go in the store. We believe it. I go in the store and use it as what they say, legal tender to purchase what I desire to purchase with it. And I use it because why? Now I'm giving it power through my spirit and me believing that it's gonna work. See how the witches work? With gold, you ain't gotta do that. Gold don't lose its value, family. If you left here and went to another nation, you have some gold, you didn't have no dollar, you gonna make it. You gotta be careful because you don't want them, you know what I'm saying, to know everything, how much gold you have, or to know where you have your gold. But think about it. You got it in grams or in coins. You getting the coins, 24 carats, heavy. You can do a little more purchasing with that. You got a little more purchasing power with gold. You got the think of the fiat. But gold is real, it's concrete. Fiat, you got measures in place to give it value. If I go on, that means I am in debt. Why am I going in debt and you're giving me money? What we call money. Cash Olino. Why am I going in debt? Because you borrowing money from them? I don't think so. Not all. You going to debt because when they gave you that money, it don't have no value to it. If you left here, okay, it'll work here. But imagine if you went to a nation that only used gold or didn't use the dollar. Like a lot of nations now are de-dollarized. They're not using the dollar. They're cutting off, they like I explained through earlier videos. China, Japan, Russia, BRIC nations are de-dollarized. Facts. They could be doing business in certain areas where it hadn't caught up yet, but you got some nations that even pass measures that they don't even use dollars. Period. So that's a problem to us. Look shit up. I ain't gonna lie to you. You can look it up. It's in the information is there. But I'm watching, but I'm not concerned because something that's greater that's happened. In order for the chosen, the children of the Most High to rise, this is what you have to see. All these nations are going to crumble to the kingdom of Israel, the true Hebrew Israelites. All of them going to crumble for our nation to rise, the kingdom of Israel. That's it. And all nations are going to worship the God of Israel. And they're going to come their tail down to Israel, worship, repent, revive, get their offerings, bless the children, and go home or stay. All of them. And those who don't,
securities is 846 billion, municipal bonds about 338 billion, asset-backed securities like Tricolor 269, total of roughly 6.6 trillion new debt issued in just the first 6 months. When we take a look at the subprime collapse, we were to say that during the global financial crisis, the entire security market crashed.
35, 34, 35 billion, trillion.
So you would probably say, well, that's not 100 times worse than 2009. But the thing is, in the size of the derivatives market only going to 2021, larger now, the notional value, not the actual net value, totals 600 trillion. So if the subprime collapse had to do with roughly 6.7 trillion in mortgage-backed securities, we can say that as a result of all of the bonds that we just went over, creating this levered up derivatives market, that we're in a situation that is 100 times worse. We're going to listen to 2 videos, one from Jamie Dimon and one from Ray Dalio, that are issuing warnings to you and I right now about a bond market collapse.
You are going to see a crack in the bond market. Okay? It is going to happen. And I tell this to my regulars, some of you in this room, I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic.
Me neither.
We'll be fine. We'll probably make more money, and then some of my friends will tell me that we like crises because it's good for JP Morgan Chase. Not really. I tell people in Credit Suisse went bankrupt with the First Republic, it was terrible for the banking industry. I think we can make everything better, including that, by just changing and modifying certain rules and regulations, letting market makers intermediate more in the market. But to give you a number, like just JP Morgan alone buys and sells $3 trillion a day. And we move $10 trillion a day of money. And we're probably a tenth. So the money moving around the world is 100 trillion a day. The money moving around the investments, this is stocks, bonds, corporate governments, derivatives, credit, you name it, FX.
These the people I need to be listening to. I've been listening to the wrong damn people. They move trillions daily. That's why I need to be in that motherfucking atmosphere around them people. They own
sovereign debt around the world, 30 trillion. The people who set those long-term rates are those people, including you in the room. It's not the Federal Reserve. They can try and manipulate the long-term rate. They can do the, what's it called, they do the twist or whatever. It doesn't work for that long. So if you look at economic history, bad things happen. When those tectonic plates shift, it's very hard to see in real time. It is shifting, and this is one of them. I just don't know if it's going to be a crisis in 6 months or 6 years. And I'm hoping that we change both the trajectory of the debt and the ability of market makers to make markets.
Supply demand issue for credit, like every other market. So that when we have a run a large deficit, and now the deficit's projected to be about 7.5% of GDP. When you run a large deficit, you have to sell debt to do that. And the quantity of debt sold has to come up against how many buyers are there. And when I calculate it, the quantity of debt sold to be sold is much greater than there is the buying power, the inclination to buy. So that's the second thing. The debt service payments having that problem, the problem in terms of the supply demand, and then you get into a dynamic when it gets bad and that debt service that you have to you can have selling of existing debt, and that's when you have real problems.
I'm saying you're gonna have a problem. They dumping the debt now.
Death spiral.
The hell.
Death spiral is that part of the cycle when the debtor needs to borrow money in order to pay debt service, and it accelerates, and everybody sees that and they don't want to hold the debt. That's where we're approaching.
Mitch, would you say the situation we're in right now,
get scared.
The global financial crisis,
they can't bow out. They know we gonna.
Times
I don't know, because they control that. We ain't controlling it. I would pay the debt.
Probably on several videos based on my math.
Family, I would pay the debt. Set up a system. But you got to get the people involved. You can't just depend on your corporations and what they doing. You got all these millions of people here, and you talking about, yeah, you got those that's going, just because you allow them to up their game, you facilitate them upping their game to ownership where they can create a greater tax bracket with stipulations that you got to hire employees. You got to have a lot of fucking employees because you want to be able to get some tax money out of them. They want to be able to generate tax money out of us so they can operate and continue to have good faith in doing business when they going abroad. People want to buy, like he's saying, who want to buy the debt of the debt? So, who want to buy more debt from, who's going to step up and buy more debt from you when they see you're not maintaining the debt on the ship? They wondering, damn, is the ship gonna sink? And what these gentlemen brought out over here at Real Estate Mindset is the differences and all around look all the way around at the system and what's negatively affected. We ain't just no one standpoint of view. That was like 6, 7, 8 different standpoints where it's in the trillions. So it's not only debt, but this shit is being magnified in a way, and it's like that shit spiraling out of control, and ultimately gonna make others, like I was saying, get rid of the bonds. They getting rid of the bonds they buying from America. They bought from America fast as hell. I'm not an economist, but shit, common sense. I'm learning in the perils. But also seeing that don't mean, now on the flip side, that don't mean they should just give up. Just because I had that problem a lot with people. I don't know if we invest in you because you working at people's garages, you working in the alley, you working pulling up in front of their house, like wherever they call, that's where I'm gonna come and go to work. The thing is to ensure that what they call for, I go and deliver every call. They might not get no building Midas like 9 bays where you could pull into and this and that, but you got somebody, they might can't, but a lot of people I deal with, yeah, they can do it, but that don't mean you can afford to do it for the life of the car. And especially when you buying a car from its midpoint, you're not buying it brand new, it's broken in. It's gonna be a lot of wear and tear and changing. Can your pockets facilitate that beyond you? Oh, I just need a car in order to go to work. I won't be able to go to work. You'll be able to go to work and get there on time, whether you own a car or not. That means you have to make some adjustments to facilitate your move on a monthly basis. You have to have a way to earn enough money to facilitate that. In this case, you don't need money in this system. You need credit. So while we run around here talking about chasing the money, like I also explained, and these conversations get heated, I'll be talking about too, when I'll be in conversation with people, because people just won't. I'm not expecting nobody to say, hey, Wayne, I'm gonna turn my brain off and I just believe what you saying. This not nothing, no theories or doctrines that I'm coming up with. This is based on biblical, what's written in the Bible. Everything written is for our learning, right? So it's no problem. It shouldn't be a problem with you or me choosing. When we know, first, let me say this, and we know the original is in a different, is in the language of creation, which is Hebrew, right? Because it's God's word spoken. Every word he spoke. To the Hebrew, we know this. Now, to the religious people that follow the context, that love the Most High, and they follow the Messiah, and they want to do what's pleasing to the Most High, being obedient, that's beautiful. Remember, Solomon prayed for not just Israel and Judah, but for those others. Others meaning those that are not Hebrews, the people of Shem that were chosen as servants by the God of Israel. That don't mean only them can enter into the kingdom of Israel. That means they need to serve in their capacity that he created them to serve him in. And they need to know this. You know, it ain't no, I ain't gonna be able to know this. I don't know. I didn't know. So, no, homeboy, homegirl. You got to understand, we look at things on our level that's coming from the creator of the heavens of all the worlds. So, and we understand he's a spirit, right? He's energy. He's everywhere, right? So anybody telling you God wouldn't, you can't bring the creator down to man's level. Well, he told us he created us in his image and likeness, right? Well, how you know that to be true? Because I come from Adam. Adam in the Hebrew, the language of creation, is Aleph, which is the beginning, the father, the head. YaHuWaH himself. Dalet, which is the door, the entrance into the kingdom. Dalet. That's the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And Meme, which is living waters, spiritual, represents spiritual. Meme represents living waters, like a sea of water. It's endless and it's alive. Water represents life, brings forth life. And also destruction too. You can use water to destroy the physical things, but not those of the spirit. Everything spiritual, which is what's in us as well, is eternal. Why? So, in us turning to and looking to learn this, to know this, and to know by applying, not just reading and studying often and always, all day, every day, as much as you can, but incorporating these instructions. For in them, you will find life, right? So if I come out of their world, that's why I turned that off. I know you like probably, why did he turn that off? That was some good information. Because in their world, which Christ said you should be in the world, but not of the world, their world is starting to leak. Meaning those things that were spoken must and shall come to pass. And what must come to pass is the people that held his people in captivity will pay for what they did. The governments. He's judging the governments. And if you holding on to that government, guess what's going to happen to you? Because it allowed a thing to happen. Okay, they came and conquered a people that was already here. Okay, for let's just say it's their land. Well, why did you treat the people you invited over here to help you build it? That's why your people came over here. Our people was here already. It was already established. Then they got to doing some things and, made some offers. People came over here. Remember, it was the Spanish crown. That's who put out the Asiento contracts, them and the Pope, to provide slaves to come into the American building for their kingdom, for their people and their rulers. And those slaves were the Moors, Islamic Moors, and Hebrew Moors, Hebrew Israelites. Moor means blacks. All them lands that they talk about in Africa, remember they always said the land of the blacks. Now, if I follow the world's way of living, then I make myself subject to that authority. And everything that's happening with that is going to affect me too. But, it's always a but. Oh, taste and see that YaHuWaH is good. Blessed is the man who will trust him if he would. Praise YaHuWaH, because you can come out of the world, not mess with that system, and go about come into your natural, which is kingdom power, spiritual authority, and rule the world. Liberia joins Toure. A lot of nations joining
that one of the most improbable gatherings of our century.
Improbable. Everybody is
Paris or London.
AES member. Oh, I got to watch that. Hold on, I'm gonna go out of this video and bring another one back. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. May YaHuWaH be with you in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom. We gonna get the kingdom, not they kingdoms. We gonna be operating in our own kingdom, YaHuWaH's kingdom. We bring